Alright, so it is June 6th, 2017, 2:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The title of this video is Fracking Causes Earthquake, Pecos, Texas. So I recently had a guy comment on one of my Fracking Causes Earthquake videos and pretty much claim that what couldn't possibly be true, that oil and gas extraction, wastewater pumping operations and hydraulic fracturing and the like, I call it all, I lump it all together as fracking, but some of it's oil pumping, some of it's gas pumping, some of it's wastewater pumping, some of it's hydraulic fracturing, but I call it all fracking. So it is a little more technical, and he was right in that aspect. The area in question that I was looking at that he made the comment on was in Oklahoma, and I think one in Nebraska or Missouri, I can't remember. But anyway, the point was that he was trying to quote unquote debunk my theory that fracking causes earthquakes by saying that if that was true, with all the oil pumping going on in Texas, that there would be earthquakes in Texas. So that's one of the reasons why I leave links to the USGS so that people could do their own research. And if you're a YouTube viewer, you should probably do your own research first before attempting to ridicule someone for their theories or their work. And so what we're going to do right now is take the coordinates that I copied from that 3.1 earthquake in Pecos, Texas, or east of Pecos, Texas, and copy them and then drop them, paste them right here, and click search on the Google Earth app. It's going to zoom us down into the exact location of that earthquake. GPS satellite imagery is available. It's older imagery. As you can see down here, the imagery date is 2015. By the way, these videos that I make are best viewed in full screen so that you can see all the detailed text and imagery detail. So if you have the option, look at this video or watch this video in full screen. So here's our 3.1 earthquake from today in east of Pecos, Texas, and just not even a quarter of a mile away is an oil pump. And everybody knows that there's oil pumps in Texas. I mean, it's just, everybody knows this. That's no big secret. And I don't claim it to be anything conspiratorial about oil pumping going on in Texas. I've known this all my life. My point, though, here is the proximity of these oil pumping operations to earthquakes, and especially this here in Texas. Just to respond to the gentleman's comment, there are earthquakes in Texas, and they're happening in more frequency and intensity and larger magnitudes, closer and closer together, and clusters of earthquakes happening from time to time, specifically in Texas. But moreover, in the area, I'm going to zoom out real quick. Moreover, these earthquakes are happening in frequency and intensity in the area known as the New Madrid seismic region. And that New Madrid seismic region runs from kind of generally in this area down into Texas. Then it comes back up through Oklahoma, and then it kind of does this zigzag thing. The actual plate boundary, or the fault line, goes up in zigzags and then back down through here into Alabama and Georgia, through South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, up in Kentucky, Tennessee, all that up into here, and then it moves all the way up here and goes out to the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which is right in this region here. This is known as the Mid-Atlantic Ridge out here, all this. So anyway, here's our earthquake in Texas, and we're going to zoom down in on this guy. Take a look. And so once again, quarter of a mile away. So the way you recognize hydraulic fracturing or gas and oil pumping or wastewater pumping operations is this kind of squarish pads, with a access into it, and close by, usually on the pad, but close by, these storage tanks right here. And so if you zoom out, again, everybody knows there's plenty of oil pumping going on in Texas. That's not a big secret. But this video is more to document that there is earthquakes in Texas and that they're within proximity of the oil pumping operations. I mean, you can clearly see the oil pump right here in this video. Again, this is old imagery from a couple years ago. There's likely more pumps or pumping operations there now than there were 2 years ago, because they're just constantly doing it. And so just to give you an idea of the scale of it, again, I'm just going to zoom back out here, and you can see the magnitude. This is the price that we pay for cheap oil. I'm not against fracking per se, or oil pumping, or it's just the scale and the magnitude that they're doing it, the frequency that they're doing it, and in the areas that they're doing it in, because seismic pressure moves from the west coast through to the east on its way out to the mid-Atlantic ridge, where it expends itself. But because they're puncturing the earth and literally perforating the earth in this region known as the New Madrid seismic region, they're creating a very weak spot where seismic pressure, as it moves underneath the plates and along the plate boundaries through fracture zones and fault lines, tries to expend itself. All pressure tries to expend itself, energy in general. And so what it does is it finds the path of least resistance. And so because they're drilling all these thousands and thousands and thousands of holes here in this region known as the New Madrid seismic region, they've created a weak spot where the pressure, as it's moving from the west to the east, kind of makes a little pit stop. And depending on where on the west the pressure is coming from, it'll pit stop here in Texas. Sometimes it'll pit stop over here in Colorado, in Oklahoma, Missouri, all up in here. It just depends on where the pressure is coming from. Typically the pressure that's coming from up in this region, in the Juan de Fuca, or the Cascadia subduction zone, it's also known as, that pressure kind of comes in and it splits down into here and comes down this way. Some of it comes down this way and winds back over, and this is the pressure that's coming down in here that's caused this earthquake in Texas to pit stop here rather than move along the fault line, the plate boundary, and out into the mid-Atlantic. It's stopped right there, and I think I've shown that it's pretty obvious as to why. It's because they've created a massive weak spot in the earth within the fault, within the plate right here. So I hope that this is a polite way to respond to that guy's comment. I don't even know who he is anymore. I think he deleted his comment, but this video's for you. Fracking causes earthquakes, bro.